She loved him with everything she had. Her whole heart. Her whole soul. Every single breath in her body belonged to him. And he looked her in the eyes and chose his family. He chose duty. He chose honor. He chose a woman he didn't love over the woman he couldn't live without. So Solange Grant did the only thing she had left. She stopped fighting. She stopped calling. She stopped existing in his world. She gave him exactly what he asked for. Silence. And that silence? It didn't set him free. It destroyed him. Because Shin Tae-hyun thought he could survive without her. He thought duty would fill the hole she left behind. He thought he was strong enough to forget. He was wrong. And by the time he realized it, she was already gone. If you love dark romance, forbidden love, and men who don't know what they have until it's too late, you're in the right place. This story is about to wreck you. Solange Grant arrived in Seoul with 2 suitcases and a dream. 27 years old. A doctorate in art history from Yale. And a prestigious fellowship at the National Museum of Korea that would launch her academic career into the stratosphere. She was brilliant. She was driven. She was the kind of woman who had been underestimated her entire life and used that underestimation as fuel. Growing up in Baltimore, she had learned early that the world didn't hand Black women anything. Every opportunity had to be seized. Every door had to be kicked down. Every achievement had to be twice as impressive just to be considered equal. So Solange had worked. She had sacrificed. She had given up relationships, social lives, and sleep, all for the chance to stand where she was standing now. In Seoul. At the beginning of everything she had ever wanted. She had no idea that she was also standing at the beginning of her destruction. She met him 3 weeks after arriving. It was at a gallery opening, a private event showcasing ancient Korean artifacts that had recently been recovered from a private collector. Solange was there for research. Shin Tae-hyun was there because his family owned the collection. She noticed him immediately. It was impossible not to. He stood in the center of the room like a king surveying his kingdom. Tall, broad-shouldered. A face that belonged on ancient sculptures, sharp jaw, high cheekbones, eyes so dark they seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. He wore his suit like armor. And he looked at the people around him like they were subjects, not equals. Solange should have been intimidated. She wasn't. When their eyes met across the room, she didn't look away. Neither did he. He approached her 20 minutes later. "You're the American fellow." It wasn't a question. "And you're the man who's been staring at me since I walked in." She tilted her head. Should I be flattered or concerned? Something flickered in those dark eyes. Surprise, maybe. Or interest. Most people don't speak to me like that. Most people aren't me. The corner of his mouth twitched. Not quite a smile. But close. "Shin Tae-hyun," he said, extending his hand. "Solange Grant." She shook it firmly. "And I'm guessing from the way everyone keeps bowing in your direction that you're someone important." "My family has influence." "Influence." She laughed softly. "That's a diplomatic way of saying you're obscenely wealthy and everyone's afraid of you." Now he did smile. Small. Controlled. But real. "You're not afraid of me, Miss Grant?" "Should I be?" He studied her for a long moment. Those dark eyes traveling over her face like he was memorizing every detail. "No," he finally said. "I don't think you should be." That first conversation lasted 3 hours. They talked about art. About history. About the pieces in the gallery and what they revealed about ancient Korean culture. Solange was surprised. She had expected a rich businessman making small talk. Instead, she found a man who knew more about art history than most of her colleagues. Who asked questions that revealed genuine curiosity. Who listened to her answers like they actually mattered. By the end of the night, she was intrigued. By the end of the week, she was fascinated. By the end of the month, she was falling. Tae-hyun pursued her with single-minded intensity. Not obviously. Not publicly. But persistently. He appeared at her lectures. Sent flowers to her office. Arranged coincidental meetings at coffee shops and museums. At first, Solange resisted. She wasn't in Seoul for romance. She was here to build something. To establish herself in a field that had very few people who looked like her. She didn't have time for distractions. But Taehyun was different. He didn't try to diminish her. He didn't compete with her ambitions. He seemed genuinely proud of her accomplishments, even when they had nothing to do with him. "Why me?" she asked one night. They were sitting in his private garden, overlooking the Seoul skyline. The city glittered below them like scattered diamonds. "What do you mean? You could have anyone. Women throw themselves at you constantly. So why are you spending all this time with an American academic who argues with everything you say?" He was quiet for a moment. Then he turned to look at her. Those dark eyes held something she hadn't seen before. Vulnerability. "Because you see me," he said quietly. "Not my family's name. Not my bank account. Not the empire I'm supposed to inherit." He reached out and touched her face. Gentle. Reverent. "You see the man. And you're not afraid of him." Solange's heart pounded. "Maybe I should be. Maybe." His thumb traced her cheekbone. "But I hope you won't be." Soft. Questioning. Asking permission even as he claimed it. And Solange, brilliant, driven, careful Solange, let her. For 6 months, they were everything to each other. Secret everything. Taehyun was careful about that. His family was traditional. Conservative. The idea of him being involved with a foreigner, especially a Black American woman, would cause complications he wasn't ready to face. At least, that's what he told her. At least, that's what she believed. So they hid. They met in private restaurants. Took trips to other cities under false pretenses. Whispered promises in the dark. It should have felt wrong. It should have felt shameful. But when Taehyun held her, Solange felt more seen than she ever had in her life. He knew her fears, her dreams, her insecurities. He knew about the father who had abandoned her, the mother who had worked herself to exhaustion, the constant pressure to be perfect just to be considered adequate. And he loved her anyway. Or so she thought. The cracks began to show in month 7. Taehyun became distant. Distracted. He canceled plans more frequently. Seemed lost in thought when they were together. Checked his phone obsessively during their conversations. "What's wrong?" Solange asked. "Nothing. Don't lie to me." He looked at her then. And for the first time, she saw fear in his eyes. "My family," he finally said. "They're expecting things of me. Things I'm not sure I can avoid." "What kind of things?" He didn't answer. "Taehyun." "What kind of things?" His jaw tightened. "There's a woman. From another family. Our families have been discussing an arrangement." Solange's blood turned to ice. "An arrangement. It's not what I want. But you're considering it." "I don't have a choice." "You always have a choice." She stood up, her hands shaking. "You just don't want to make the hard one." "Solange. Don't." She held up her hand. "Don't tell me you love me and then tell me you might marry someone else in the same breath." He reached for her. She stepped back. "I need time," she said. "I need to think." She walked away before he could see her cry. The next 2 weeks were torture. Solange threw herself into her work. Spent 18-hour days at the museum. Avoided his calls. Ignored his messages. She was trying to prepare herself. Trying to build walls around her heart before he could shatter it completely. But Taehyun didn't give up. He appeared at her office one night, long after everyone else had gone home. "I'm sorry," he said. "Sorry doesn't fix this." "I know." He moved closer. "But I need you to understand. My family, they're not just wealthy. They're powerful. The kind of powerful that can destroy careers. End opportunities. Make people disappear." "Are you threatening me?" "No." He looked horrified. "I'm explaining. I'm trying to make you see why I can't just walk away from them. Can't, or won't." He didn't answer. That was answer enough. "So, what are you asking me?" Solange demanded. "To wait around while you marry someone else? To be your secret while you play happy family in public? I'm asking you to give me time. I've given you 7 months. How much more time do you need?" "I don't know." His voice cracked. "I don't know how to fix this. I don't know how to have you and satisfy my family. I just know that I can't lose you." Solange stared at him. This man she loved. This man who had made her feel like she mattered. This man who was asking her to be his shadow while another woman stood in his light. "You can't have both," she said quietly. You have to choose. His eyes filled with something that looked like grief. I know. So choose. He opened his mouth, closed it, and in that silence, Solange heard everything she needed to know. He married Park Min-ji 3 months later. A lavish ceremony that was covered by every news outlet in Korea. Solange watched it from her apartment, a bottle of wine in her hand and tears streaming down her face. He had chosen. And he hadn't chosen her. She should have been angry. She should have been furious. But all she felt was empty. Like he had carved out a piece of her soul and taken it with him to that altar. The next morning, she made a decision. She was done. Done crying. Done hoping. Done waiting for a man who had made his choice clear. If Shin Tae-hyun wanted her out of his life, she would disappear. Her silence began immediately. She changed her phone number, moved to a new apartment without telling anyone at the museum, deleted her social media accounts, became a ghost. When he tried to reach her through mutual acquaintances, she ignored the messages. When he sent letters to her office, she returned them unopened. When he showed up at the museum looking for her, she was conveniently unavailable. She gave him nothing. No closure. No confrontation. No dramatic goodbye. Just silence. And that silence was louder than any scream could ever be. Taehyun didn't understand at first. He expected her to fight, to rage, to demand explanations and throw accusations. That's what everyone else in his life did. But Solange simply vanished. And it drove him insane. She won't respond to anything, he told his assistant. Not calls. Not letters. Not gifts. Perhaps she has moved on, sir. Moved on. The words hit him like a physical blow. He hadn't considered that possibility. He had assumed she would wait. That she would understand. That eventually, once he had secured his position in the family, once he had proven himself, he could find a way back to her. He had been so arrogant. So certain that her love would survive anything. He had never imagined she would simply stop. His marriage was a disaster from the beginning. Min-ji was beautiful, elegant, the perfect society wife. She was also cold, calculating, and completely aware that she was a business arrangement, not a love match. They slept in separate rooms. They spoke only when necessary. They performed for the cameras and ignored each other in private. It was exactly what Taehyun had expected. What he hadn't expected was how much he would miss Solange. It hit him at strange moments. When he saw a piece of art she would have appreciated. When he heard a song she used to sing. When he woke up in the middle of the night, reaching for a body that wasn't there. He had everything he was supposed to want. Money, power, position, a wife from the right family. And he was more miserable than he had ever been in his life. 6 months into his marriage, Taehyun hired a private investigator. Not to harass Solange. Not to force contact. He just needed to know she was okay. He just needed to know she was still there. The investigator reported back within a week. She's thriving, sir. Taehyun's chest tightened. Thriving? She's been promoted. She's now the lead curator for the museum's international collection. She's published 2 papers that have received significant academic attention. And, personally, the investigator hesitated. There's been a man. Another academic. They've been seen together frequently. The world tilted. Another man. Of course there was another man. Solange was brilliant and beautiful and alive in a way that drew people to her like moths to flame. Of course someone else had noticed. Of course someone else had stepped into the space Taehyun had been too cowardly to claim. Sir? Are you all right? Taehyun dismissed him without answering. Then he sat alone in his empty office and felt something inside him shatter. He saw her 2 weeks later. Not intentionally. He was attending a museum benefit, the kind of event he usually avoided, when he spotted her across the room. She was wearing a deep green dress that set off her dark skin like emeralds against velvet. Her hair was different, longer, styled in intricate braids that cascaded over one shoulder. She was laughing. Laughing. Like she hadn't spent the last 6 months mourning what they had lost. Like he hadn't broken her heart. Like he didn't matter. And beside her was a man. Tall. Handsome. American, by the look of him. leaning close to her, touching her arm, making her smile. Taehyun's hands clenched into fists. He wanted to cross the room, to tear that man away from her, to remind her that she belonged to him. But she didn't. She didn't belong to him. He had given her away. And now someone else was reaping the harvest of his cowardice. Their eyes met. Just for a moment. Just long enough for him to see nothing. No anger. No pain. No longing. Just blank acknowledgement. Like he was a stranger she vaguely recognized. Then she looked away and continued her conversation like he wasn't even there. That hurt more than any words could have. Her indifference was a knife to his chest. Her peace was proof that he had lost her. He left the benefit early, went home to his empty marriage and his empty life. And for the first time, he allowed himself to grieve. The grief became obsession. Taehyun couldn't stop thinking about her. Every night, he lay awake replaying their relationship. Every moment, every kiss, every whispered promise. He had been so certain that duty was more important than love. That family obligation outweighed personal desire. That he could sacrifice her and survive. But he couldn't survive. He was dying. Slowly. Invisibly. Surrounded by wealth and power while his soul withered into nothing. "You need to let this go," his assistant advised. "I can't." "Sir, she's moved on." "I don't care." His voice cracked. "I don't care if she's moved on. I don't care if she hates me. I can't stop thinking about her." "Then what do you intend to do?" Taehyun stared out the window at the Seoul skyline. The same skyline he used to watch with her. "I don't know," he admitted. "But I can't keep living like this." The breaking point came on a Tuesday. Taehyun was in a board meeting when his assistant interrupted with an urgent message. His wife had filed for divorce. Not because she loved someone else. Not because she had discovered his emotional affair with a memory. But because she was bored. "This marriage has served its purpose," she told him later that evening. "Our family's business alliance is secured. There's no reason to continue pretending." Taehyun should have felt something. Relief, maybe. Or at least surprise. But all he felt was numb. "Fine," he said. Minji raised an eyebrow. "That's all? No negotiation? No argument? What's there to argue about?" "You're right. This was never real." She studied him for a moment. Something like curiosity flickered in her cold eyes. "You're in love with someone else." It wasn't a question. Yes. The American woman. He didn't ask how she knew. It didn't matter. Yes. Minji smiled, the first genuine smile he had ever seen from her. "Then go get her, you fool. Before you waste the rest of your life like you've wasted the last year." The divorce was finalized in 2 months. Quick. Clean. His family was furious, but the business alliance held. Minji had been right about that. And suddenly, Taehyun was free. Free from the marriage he had never wanted. Free from the obligation that had stolen his happiness. Free to finally try. But trying was harder than he expected. Because Solange's silence hadn't weakened. If anything, it had become a fortress. She still refused his calls. Still returned his letters. Still conveniently unavailable whenever he visited the museum. She had built walls so high that even his freedom couldn't scale them. And Taehyun realized he might have waited too long. Desperation makes people do foolish things. Taehyun's foolish thing was showing up at her apartment building at midnight. He didn't know what he planned to say. He didn't know if she would even let him speak. But he couldn't spend another night wondering what might have been. He stood outside her door for 10 full minutes. Heart pounding. Hands shaking. The mighty Shin Taehyun. Terrified of a woman half his size. Finally, he knocked. Silence. He knocked again. More silence. Then, footsteps. The door opened. And there she was. Solange stood in the doorway, wearing an oversized sweater and silk shorts. Her hair was wrapped. Her face was free of makeup. Her eyes were wide with shock. She had never looked more beautiful. "What are you doing here?" Her voice was flat. Controlled. "I needed to see you. It's midnight." "I know. I'm sorry." He took a breath. "I couldn't wait anymore." She stared at him for a long moment. Then she started to close the door. Wait, he caught it with his hand. Please. Just give me 5 minutes. You had months to talk to me. You chose not to. I was wrong. Yes, you were. I'm divorced now. I know. I read the news. So you do pay attention to what happens in my life. Her jaw tightened. 5 minutes, she said flatly. Then you leave. She stepped back to let him in. Her apartment was small but beautiful, filled with art and books and warm, comfortable furniture. It felt like her. And being inside it, being in her space for the first time in over a year, made Taehyun's chest ache. Talk, she said, crossing her arms. He took a breath. I made the biggest mistake of my life when I let you go. You didn't let me go. You chose to go. To someone else. I know. Do you? Because from where I stood, it looked like you weighed your options and decided I wasn't worth the fight. That's not. Let me finish. Her voice was steel. I loved you, Taehyun. I loved you in a way I've never loved anyone. And you looked me in the eyes and chose duty over that love. You chose family expectations over me. I was scared. So was I. Her composure cracked. You think I wasn't terrified? You think I didn't know your family would hate me? But I was willing to fight. I was willing to stand beside you through whatever came. She stepped closer, her eyes blazing. But you weren't willing to fight for me. And that told me everything I needed to know. Taehyun felt tears burning in his eyes. You're right, he whispered. You're absolutely right. I was a coward. I was so consumed by what my family expected that I forgot what I actually wanted. And what was that? You. His voice broke. It was always you. Every day of that marriage, I thought about you. Every night, I dreamed about you. You were everywhere, Solange. In my head. In my heart. In every breath I took. Then why didn't you come sooner? Because I didn't deserve to. She faltered. I hurt you, he continued. I broke you. And then I married someone else and expected you to just wait. I was selfish and arrogant and cruel. He fell to his knees. Right there. In the middle of her living room. The powerful Shin Taehyun. Kneeling. I'm not asking you to forgive me. I'm not asking you to take me back. I just need you to know, your silence broke me in ways I didn't know I could break. Solange stared down at him. This man she had loved. This man who had shattered her. This man who was now kneeling at her feet. For months, she had imagined this moment. Fantasized about it. Planned exactly what she would say to make him feel even a fraction of the pain she had felt. But now that he was here, she just felt tired. Get up, she said quietly. He did. His eyes were red. His cheeks were wet. He looked broken. I don't know if I can forgive you, she admitted. I don't know if I can trust you again. You destroyed me, Taehyun. I spent months putting myself back together. I know. No, you don't know. She cut him off. You don't know what it's like to love someone so much that their betrayal feels like dying. You don't know what it's like to watch the man you love marry someone else on international television. Her voice cracked. You don't know what it's like to rebuild yourself from nothing because the person who was supposed to protect your heart threw it away. Taehyun's face crumpled. You're right. I don't know. But I want to. He stepped closer. I want to understand. I want to spend the rest of my life making it up to you if you'll let me. And what about your family? I don't care about my family anymore. His voice was fierce. They got what they wanted. They got their alliance. They don't get you too. They'll never accept me. Then I'll leave them. Solange blinked. What? I'll walk away. From the company. From the money. From all of it. He cupped her face. None of it matters without you. None of it. She wanted to believe him. God, she wanted to believe him so badly. But trust doesn't rebuild in a single conversation. I need time, she said. I'll wait. I mean real time. Months. Maybe longer. I'll wait. I might decide I can't do this. I might decide the risk isn't worth it. I'll still wait. His thumbs brushed away tears she hadn't realized she was crying. I'll wait forever, Solange. Because you were right, I didn't fight for you before. But I'm fighting now. And I won't stop until you tell me there's no hope left. She stared at him. This man who had broken her. This man who was trying to put her back together. The man, she said suddenly. What? The American man I've been seen with. He's my colleague. Just my colleague. Relief flooded Taehyun's face. I didn't ask. I know. But I wanted you to know. There was never anyone else. I couldn't. You ruined me for anyone else. His eyes closed. I'm so sorry. I know you are. She took a deep breath. 3 months, she said. Give me 3 months. No pressure. No grand gestures. Just be there. Prove that you've actually changed. And after 3 months? We'll see. It wasn't forgiveness. It wasn't reconciliation. But it was a chance. And for Taehyun, that was everything. The 3 months that followed were the longest of Taehyun's life. But also, the most transformative. He didn't push. Didn't overwhelm. Didn't try to rush her back into his arms. He simply showed up. When she mentioned needing coffee, he had it delivered. When she was stressed about a project, he listened without offering solutions. When she had bad days and didn't want to talk, he sat with her in silence. He was present, in a way he had never been before. And slowly, Solange's walls began to crumble. Why are you different now? She asked one night. They were sitting on her balcony, watching the city lights. Not touching. Not yet. But closer than they had been in a long time. Because I lost you, he said simply. And losing you taught me what really matters. Which is... He turned to look at her. You. Just you. Everything else is just noise. That's easy to say now that your marriage is over. It was easy to say during my marriage. I just wasn't brave enough to act on it. He reached out and took her hand. She let him. I spent my whole life trying to be what my family wanted, he continued. The perfect son. The perfect heir. The perfect businessman. And none of it made me happy. His thumb traced circles on her palm. You made me happy. Your laugh. Your brilliance. The way you challenged everything I thought I knew. He squeezed her hand. I don't want to be perfect anymore. I just want to be yours. Solange felt something shift inside her. Something that had been frozen for over a year, beginning to thaw. I'm scared, she admitted. I know. If I let you back in, if I give you my heart again, and you choose duty over me. I won't. How can you be sure? He was quiet for a moment. Then he stood up. Wait here. He disappeared inside, leaving her confused. When he returned, he was holding his phone. What are you doing? He dialed a number. Put it on speaker. Taehyun. His mother's cold voice filled the air. It's late. I'm calling to inform you that I'm resigning from my position at the company. Solange's eyes went wide. What? His mother's voice sharpened. You can't be serious. I'm also renouncing my inheritance. Effective immediately. Have you lost your mind? I've lost enough already. I'm not losing anything else that matters. This is about that American woman, isn't it? The one you couldn't stop looking at. Her name is Solange. And yes, it's about her. It's about us. He looked directly at Solange as he spoke. I love her, mother. More than money. More than power. More than your approval. If you do this, you will have nothing. I'll have her. That's enough. He hung up. The balcony was silent. Solange stared at him. You just gave up everything. No. He knelt before her. I just finally chose correctly. Solange burst into tears. Not sad tears. Not angry tears. Relief. Relief that had been building for over a year, finally released. Taehyun held her while she cried. Didn't speak. Didn't try to fix it. Just let her feel. When the tears finally stopped, she looked up at him. You really mean it, she whispered. Every word. Your family will hate you. They can hate me from a distance. You'll have to start over. Build something new. I'll build it with you. If you'll have me. She studied his face. The face she had loved. The face she had tried so hard to forget. 3 months aren't up yet, she said. I know. So technically, I haven't decided anything. I know that too. She reached up and touched his face. But I think I've known my decision for a while now. Hope blazed in his eyes. Solange, I love you. I never stopped loving you. And watching you give up everything just now. She pulled him close. That was the fight I needed to see. They rebuilt slowly. Carefully. With intention. Taehyun had meant what he said. He left the family company. Left the inheritance. Left everything that had made him Shin Taehyun, the powerful heir. He became just Taehyun. A man with savings. Skills. And a woman he loved. It should have felt like a loss. Instead, it felt like freedom. He started a small art consulting firm. Used his knowledge and connections, the ones that had nothing to do with his family, to build something of his own. Solange helped when she could. Supported him when she couldn't. They were partners. In a way they had never been before. His family tried to interfere, of course. His mother sent lawyers. Threats. Even hired investigators to dig up dirt on Solange. But there was no dirt to find. Just a brilliant woman who had built herself from nothing. And eventually, they gave up. Taehyun's younger brother reached out first. "I don't agree with Mother," he said during a phone call. "I think you're brave." Brave or stupid? His brother laughed. Both. But mostly brave. "She makes you happy." "I can see it even in photographs." One by one, other family members followed. Not all of them. His mother remained cold. But enough. Enough to remind Taehyun that family wasn't just about blood. It was about who showed up. They got engaged on the anniversary of the night he had knelt in her living room. Not with a big production. Not with cameras or witnesses. Just the two of them. In her small apartment. With a ring he had chosen himself. "I know I don't have the money I used to," he said. "I know this ring isn't as impressive as what I could have given you before. It's perfect. Let me finish." He took her hands. "I know I broke your trust. I know I hurt you. And I know it's going to take the rest of my life to prove that I'll never make that mistake again." He slid the ring onto her finger. "But I will prove it. Every day. For as long as you'll let me." Solange looked at the ring. Simple. Beautiful. Real. Just like them. "Yes," she said. "Yes. Yes." She laughed through her tears. "Yes, I'll marry you. Yes to all of it. Yes to us." He pulled her into his arms and held her like he would never let go. They married 6 months later. A small ceremony. Just close friends and the family members who supported them. Solange wore white. Taehyun cried when he saw her. Actually cried. The powerful businessman who had once seemed made of stone, undone by a woman in a wedding dress. "I don't deserve you," he whispered during their vows. "Probably not," she agreed. "But you're stuck with me anyway." Everyone laughed. Including them. 3 years later, they welcomed a daughter. They named her Hannah, meaning one in Korean and flower in multiple languages. She was the perfect blend of both of them. Her father's eyes. Her mother's spirit. When Taehyun held her for the first time, he cried again. "She's so small," he whispered. "She's perfect," Solange replied. "Just like her father." "You mean like her mother?" He looked at his wife. The woman who had loved him. Lost him. Found him again. The woman whose silence had broken him and rebuilt him into someone better. "Thank you," he said. "For what?" "For not giving up on me. Even when I gave up on us." Solange smiled. "I almost did. So many times." "What stopped you?" She considered the question. "I think. I always knew you'd find your way back. I just needed you to fight for it. And my silence helped? Your silence made you realize what you had lost." She touched his face. "Sometimes people need to lose something before they understand its value. So here's the truth, beautiful people. Sometimes love isn't enough. Sometimes you have to fight for what you want. And sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is go silent. Not out of weakness. Not out of defeat. But because your peace is more valuable than their chaos." Solange didn't beg. She didn't chase. She didn't diminish herself for a man who wasn't ready to choose her. She simply stepped back and let him feel what he had lost. Her silence wasn't punishment. It was protection. Protection of her heart. Her dignity. Her worth. And when he finally understood what he had thrown away, then she let him back in. On her terms. That's what a strong woman does. She doesn't accept crumbs when she deserves the whole damn meal. Now, if this story hit you in the chest, if you felt every moment of that pain and that healing, I need you to do something for me. Smash that like button. Hit that subscribe. Turn on the notification bell so you don't miss anything. And drop a comment telling me, did Taehyun deserve her forgiveness? Was she right to make him wait? Would you have taken him back? I want to hear everything. Share this with someone who needs to hear that their silence is their power. I love you all. Thank you for being here. And I'll see you in the next one.